Hi, I'm Shelby Wagner. This is my second video. I introduced my series on grieving and internet dating in video 1. And the next video is my partner, Bill, and he is telling about his experience. I'm a retired school teacher, and I was married for 50 years. My husband came down with pneumonia about 2.5 weeks before our 50th wedding anniversary. He didn't think he was ill. I didn't like his cough. It sounded very deep and guttural. And I don't know, I guess I had a premonition. It was Thursday when I found out he was coughing. And we were driving home from Michigan, Upper Peninsula, Michigan, to Tennessee. And the more miles that went by, his cough seemed to get worse. When we got home in Tennessee, well, before we got home, I kept saying, I think I should stop at the hospital. And Bob, my husband, said, no, I just want to get home to Tennessee. We'd been gone for 2 weeks visiting with my daughter, our daughter, and I had gone to the Upper Peninsula to see my mother, who was in a nursing home there, and my sister. We'd had a good time, and then when we left there to come back south, I didn't like that cough. I didn't know he was sick. He said he wasn't sick, but sometimes we don't listen to our body, and we need to listen more often. I'm a retired school teacher. I taught elementary school children, 1st grade, 3rd grade, and then 6th grade. Then I retired for a few years and stayed home with my babies. I had 2 years apart, almost exactly, and they're all grown now. My son, I guess, is 40, I even forgot, 43, and my daughter, I think, is 45. I may be off 1 year, but anyway, I've had a full life. And so when I was told at the hospital that my husband didn't make it, I said, what do you mean? What are you saying? And the nurse repeated, well, we're sorry to tell you, but Mr. Wagner didn't make it. And I said, well, why aren't you there helping him? Why are you here? And then they said, he's gone. His heart stopped when we did the procedure of intubation to help him breathe. And we couldn't get it started again. Well, how many times have we heard the story or the nursery rhyme, Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall, and Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. Humpty Dumpty couldn't be put back together again. Well, I certainly felt that my world had fallen off the wall. I felt devastated, and I'm sure all of you who have lost your husband or your wife or your loved one, any of them, it feels like your world has ended. And I was devastated. I didn't know what I was going to do. He was 8 years older than me. So once in a while I'd have the thought, he's going to probably go before you do. And I refuse to think about it because who wants to think about that, right? But it finally sunk in that he was gone. And there I was. First of all, we're going to talk about the 7 stages in one of the next videos of grief. The 7 I think there's 7 stages of grief. I know the popular one was 5, but anyway. And I'm not a licensed therapist or anything like that, but I am your friend. I have always been one who wanted to help other people. I don't know how much I have helped, but I try. I'm a good listener, and my friends appreciate that from coming from me. So the last few years, when or after my kids both got into school, I went back to teaching, and this time I taught music. Music was my first love, and I was denied getting my music degree at first because of lack of funds and available a school that was nearby that I could go to that didn't have the music. So that's why I became an elementary teacher. And I did that. But when I stayed home with my kids, I got my music degree. And then I went back to being a music teacher. I had taught piano since I was 16, 15 probably even. And I started playing the organ in church when I was a senior in high school at the age of 16. Um, when my cousin asked me between my junior and senior year if I would play the piano for her wedding, I thought, wow, I don't know. You think I'm good enough? And, oh yeah, I think you're very good. She says, yeah, I want you to play for my wedding. So when I got to the Friday night to the rehearsal, there was this big instrument over in the corner, and I says, "Is that an organ?" Hadn't seen one that big before. And the pastor says, "Here, why don't you sit down and play?" So I sat down and I started playing some of the music from the wedding. And by the time they came over and got to practicing, my cousin says, "You're playing the organ tomorrow for my wedding." And that was my first wedding and then my first organ wedding. My mother immediately put me in organ lessons, and so for the next 60 years, I played organ in church, and choir direct. I've done a lot of that. I've taught all ages of choirs, and I enjoy the music. Right now, I'm playing piano duets with my friend Linda. And if you have looked at my YouTube channel, you know that I have posted 3 of our videos, which we played a few weeks ago, and a neighbor lady was kind enough to come over and videotape them for us. I think now after COVID, the senior center said that we can come back and start playing there again. So in a couple of weeks, that's what we'll do. But anyway, I wanted to let you know about me, and I want to help people. And talking about our um, grieving, talking about our loved ones. Um, it helps. It really does. It's been 5 years now since my husband passed away. And I met Bill on internet dating, and we're going to be talking about that later on in the series. Um, and he would, he was grieving. He was grieving for 4 women, I think, all at the same time, and he didn't know it. It took him a year to decide that, maybe he would like to have another relationship. I think he was probably afraid. I would have been if I'd lost 3 people just like that. And I think I'd say, gee, you know, maybe I shouldn't do this anymore. But he got brave enough to come and visit me before COVID. And then we had the quarantines and he couldn't leave. And so he didn't leave. He's still here. So he has some really good ideas and thoughts that spur me on, and some I agree with and some I don't. But we have a good time, and I want to share with you what we've learned and talk about and moving forward. And I think there are a lot of spouses that pass away. I have heard not very long after the first one. And I think I thought, maybe there was a trend. And as I got into writing my book, I found that there was a trend. They gave it a name, the widowhood effect. And they said that all widows and widowers have a 66% greater chance of dying in the first year or 3 months to a year after their spouse has died. And I think that's a real shame now that I've lived through it, my journey of grief and trying to find a new partner after I decided I just don't like to be alone. Um, so I'm here starting this video series on YouTube, and I hope that you will tell other people that you will enjoy it, and that you will tell other people about it, and join and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Looking forward to seeing and meeting you through the chats, and God be with you if you recently lost someone, because I know how hard it is in the beginning, and sometimes after too. So take care. I'll see you next video. Bye-bye.